Thank you, Lord, for what you've done for me. Thank you, Lord, for what you're doing now. Thank you, Lord, for every little thing. Thank you, Lord, for you make me sing. When I'm in love,
Hey guys, I am playing some Bob Marley for you guys so we can all kind of get in the mood. Wait for a few people to pop on.
Thank you, Lord, for what you've done for me. Thank you, Lord, for what you're doing now. Thank you, Lord, for every little thing.
Welcome.
Thank you, Lord, for you made me sing. Sing along, sing along.
Welcome everybody. Hello. How's it going? Glad y'all could be here. So, thank you, Bob. Thank you, Lord. I'm gonna let that fade out here. All right, Bob. Appreciate you. How's everybody doing today? Hello to you all. I'm really glad you're here. Let me tell you, like this moon energy, I'm like super agitated. Like it's got me going. So I have a couple of things that I want to do to kind of like get us grounded. So I was playing some Bob because Bob always gets me into an alignment, feeling nice and relaxed. And if you're feeling like really agitated, like you're not alone. Some people are super sensitive to moon energy, and it's a super full blood wolf moon, total lunar eclipse. Like if that's not a mouthful, I don't know what is. Let me see some hearts, something like, yay, I've been feeling it. You know, give me something. Give me some love. Because I need some love right now. It's been some crazy energy. Crazy energy. So, thanks for the hearts. Thank you. I'm needing them right now. So, a couple things. Let me get set up here. Thank you, hearts, yay. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I always light a bunch of candles. It's kind of hard to move my camera around, but I've got kind of like a couple altars going here. And that's just to invoke in, the Holy Spirit for protection. We always ask for the highest good to be in this space, that only helping spirits are here. And also to like kind of set sacred space. Next, I felt like called to burn some Palo Santo. Palo Santo is literally holy wood. And if you aren't familiar, holy wood, Palo Santo, I was told it prefers to be lit with a candle because it's not something that stays lit frequently. But to keep the energy going, you light it with a candle and it gets a nice smoky, cleansing smoke going on. It's one of the things you can use for smudging. I like it for personal smudging. For certain energy, Wood is a little more solid than grass, sage, or plants. And for me, I'm needing something a lot more solid and grounding right now. But that said, I also, another purifier besides white sage is copal. Copal is a resin. Let me see if I can show you some. Right here. I have a bunch of resins here. Resins are also harder than a plant. Resin is basically the blood of a tree or a plant. Myrrh, here's myrrh. Myrrh is very holy, along with frankincense. These two go together quite a bit. The three kings brought frankincense and myrrh for Jesus' birth. One of the other resins that I like is copal. Copal often looks like this. You grind it up, and it burns a lot hotter. And so if you're going to burn a resin, usually you put like a piece of charcoal under it so it will stay burning. I find it a little more complicated to use than, let's say, regular plants, dried herbs, or Palo Santo. But when you're feeling called to have a steadier sense, a more grounding sense of purification, I use wood or resin. And yet at the same time, today, instead of just plain white sage, because I'm really feeling like super affected by this moon energy, and I'll tell you why in a minute, why that's probable. I'm also using my little shell, but I usually put white sage in there. And today I have the 4 sacred herbs for native smudging, which is cedar, sweetgrass, tobacco, and white sage. Tobacco being a blessing from Mother Earth, thanking Mother Earth for giving us all that she has. And the others for purification. They kind of represent the 4 directions. So as I was bringing up copal, what I meant to mention was I have copal incense. So everything that I'm burning has some spiritual significance. So ultimately, it's intention, right? So why are we feeling so crazy? Well, I mean, the moon has been one of those planets that has long affected our mental health, right? Why else would you be called a lunatic, right? The moon, lunar, they looked at cycles of the moon and people's reaction to the moon. The moon has an effect on tides, and we're 70% water. So of course, anyone else had an extra period, you may find your lunar cycle, your moon cycle, your period being like off. And that reason is that, okay, so a supermoon, what is a supermoon? A supermoon is when the perigee of the moon, when the moon is at perigee, that means it's close. Let's say this is the Earth, right? Here's the moon. Sometimes, this is not to scale, obviously. When the moon is closest in its orbit to the Earth, it looks bigger, right? And when it's in the apogee, it's furthest away from the Earth. It's like going around, circling the Earth, etc. And then when it's in a supermoon position, it's at perigee, which means it's just closer and looks like, normally, here's how big the moon looks. This is how big it looks to us. It's like super up close. It's going to look huge in the sky. So it's a super moon, and it's a blood moon because it's a total lunar eclipse, which means that here's the sun. Here's the sun. Here's the Earth. And on the other side, the other side is the moon. So basically the moon is getting eclipsed by Earth, and the sun is still shining its light around Earth. And so it kind of goes around the Earth and still causes sunlight to hit or reflect off of the moon, and it turns this reddish blood color, like orangey color. So that's why the moon's going to look huge. That's why the color will be blood, and that's why it's called the super blood moon. And it's the wolf moon because in the Farmer's Almanac and native tradition, January was right around the time that the wolves started howling because they were scarce on food and they were hungry and they were starving. And so what I'm finding is over time, the moon, the sun, the planetary alignments, all that was more and more a way for us to mark time, to mark significance, to be in ritual. And if you Google significant lunar eclipses, it's been known the big energy of lunar eclipses has been known to cause or be associated with significant events in history. One of the biggest ones being the crucifixion of Christ, right? The more I read into it, the more it appears to me like they didn't exactly have Google Calendar back in the day, so they marked time by big significant events, like Christ died right when there was an eclipse, but coincidentally, big energy affects activity on the world stage, right? So there were some other significant world events that occurred with previous lunar eclipses. The biggest, like I mentioned, the death of King Herod, in the birth of Christ, the advent of the birth of Christ, the crucifixion of Christ. The death of Herod and the birth of Christ was somewhere around January 10th, 1 BC. Okay, crucifixion of Christ, right around April of 0033. So Jesus died when he was 33, right? And April is typically right around when we celebrate Easter. So it makes sense, makes a lot of sense. Some other big events, Columbus apparently got marooned in Jamaica in February of 1504. It wasn't his first transatlantic trip. Obviously, 1492, he made it to Hispaniola, which is Haiti and Dominican Republic. But he got marooned in Jamaica on his next trip or somewhere around there. And he had more knowledge of the eclipses, but the natives did not. And so he used that to his advantage and made them afraid of him because he said if the natives were giving him food and they were cheating the natives and like giving them like little trinkets and stuff in return for food because they were starving to death. And he said, well, and they said, we're tired of giving you all this food and we're on to you. You're giving us these little stupid things that don't amount to much. And he said, well, if you don't give me food, I'm going to make the moon turn red in a couple days. And because he knew there was this eclipse coming. And it scared the crap out of the natives. They'd never, for all of us who did not understand the science behind the moon and what's going on with the moon and the sun and the earth, that was seen as a supernatural evil omen. Like people were scared of this. And so a couple of other things came up because of the lunar eclipses in the past. And I'm only saying all this because not to give you this huge history lesson, but to understand how this energy affects consciousness, affects the great culmination of many things. Okay, Ben Franklin had his own. He was an astronomer. He was one of those jack of all trades. He decided he was watching the stars and he was predicting a great eclipse, November 1st, I think 1743. He lived in Philadelphia, and it just so happened that a storm blew in, a northeaster. Those of us who are from New England area know what a nor'easter is. Huge snowstorm, and it obstructed his view of the sky, and he couldn't see the eclipse happen. So he was a little disappointed, and then when he checked in with all his friends in Boston a couple days later, they sent him letters saying it was clear as a bell in Boston, and they could see the eclipse perfectly. And it started him thinking, I don't understand. I thought that this energy should have come down from the northeast and they should have been covered just as I was. It started him thinking about the way storm patterns and like meteorology basically started to take place. So some of these eclipses bring in a new level of consciousness. Another one, lastly, I think a big one, where Lawrence of Arabia, he's a British advisor to the Arabs during the Turks and the Arabs were fighting each other. And in Islamic culture, Ramadan happens in the month of July, I believe, June, July. And they believe that eclipses are a sign of the day of judgment, kind of like us in Revelations, Christian Revelations. I don't know if you've ever seen that really cheesy 1988 horror film with Demi Moore in it called The Seventh Sign. One of the signs was the moon turned blood red. So anyway, lots of social, cultural aspects of what an eclipse is. Okay. The energy is pretty big because when this is the moon over here, and then here's Earth, and then here's the sun. When the Earth is being interrupted by, it's in an eclipse, mostly in a solar eclipse, but also in a lunar eclipse, it affects the Earth's atmosphere. They've proven it scientifically. They don't know how, but like the atmosphere of the Earth basically softens and it's more porous. I don't know if that's the right term, but we're more open to energy from the universe. Okay, so that's not just woo-woo stuff. That's like they've scientifically proven that that's the case. So perfect time for downloads from your subconscious. Lunar eclipses are all about your subconscious. The moon is your inner workings. And for a lot of us, we got a lot going on the inside. This is, I don't know if any of y'all are familiar, but let me take a sip of water here. From 2012 till 2019 was a period of cleansing and purification. It probably wasn't an easy time for a lot of us, probably most of us. A lot of stuff fell away. We weren't planning on falling away. It just wasn't a comfortable time. A lot of us are feeling this January, this new year, this culmination of the new year is a start of new beginnings. I, in particular, really feel this huge change for me. And that's because astrologically, we're moving into like another 7-year period of a new beginning. It's also the end of Chiron and Pisces. It's going back to Chiron and Aries. Chiron is the mythological wounded healer, and our levels of soul evolution. And Aries is what? The beginning of the zodiac. It's generative energy. It's a fresh start. It's also, who am I? I'm a brand new baby. I'm learning about my identity. And so they call, when Chiron is in Aries, the wound of the identity, but also us in exploration of who we are. It's a brand new period of time when we are moving into the new version of ourselves. Okay, up leveling. We cleared out all that other crap, and now in this 7-year period, we're moving up to where we, envisioned the new version of us. Okay, let me check some of these comments here. Yes, Bridget, I got you an animal card. Anyone else want to request a specific card? Let me know. Welcome, Marva. I'm so glad you're here. Anyone else in particular, let me know what card you'd like. Yes. Bridget says, energies are causing me to be dizzy and my stomach to roll. Yeah, I was really nauseous driving in the car yesterday. But before I go any further, I want to talk about, I mean, there's all facts and figures and all this other neat trivia. But if you're feeling really like stressed in your body, like you're a conduit, those of us who are very sensitive to energy, we're feeling everybody else's energy. We're feeling like tidal waves of our own energy. We're just feeling it, okay? And the moon obviously is pulling on us and it's right in our face because it's the super moon, right? This is a good time to do physical activity to get these energies out of you. A very good friend of mine, Sama Morningstar, she's got a beautiful podcast. Her most recent podcast is with a lady, and I'll get her name up. Maybe I can put the link in here. They talk about like a 3-day moon dance. People would get out and dance and for 3 days straight to get this energy out of them. And maybe that's where they say the natives are getting restless. You know, if you're feeling really restless, do some somatic exercises. I mean, that literally get energy, push energy out of you. So a very simple one, you can do brushing. I'm feeling, I've had to do that several times. Just over your, what the Four Winds would call your light body. Just brush your auric field, do it as many times as you can. Ideally, that's what you're cleansing, purifying when you're smudging, right? You can do that. If you feel weird doing that in front of anybody, go in the restroom at work and do it, and just, you start going outside, put your feet directly, the soles of your feet directly on the earth. That's called earthing. It's a very grounding. It's literally shown to ground you, to lower your blood pressure. Another thing that you can do is this, I call it kind of like, it's sort of a form of ecstatic dance, but it's literally you expressing all the stress and trauma in your body, stagnant energy, and it looks a little bit like, you may feel very silly, but doing so makes you feel a lot better. It moves that energy out of your body. In yoga, it's called, there's a breathing called lion's breath, where you're like, and you feel very silly while you're doing it, but at the same time, afterward, you're like, that got stress out of me way better than just meditating. So just a little coping mechanism if you're feeling really stressed with this energy right now. I'm going to check and see who put down that they wanted a card. Okay, so Karen wants an animal card. Okay, Holly. All right. I feel like I really want to use my animal cards today. Kimberly wants an herbal card. Okay. And I'm going to pull a card for my mom too. Holly, I'm going to pull you an animal card. And then Bethany, herbal. Okay. Hey, Maury, welcome. Okay. Maury, welcome. So glad you could make it. I'll pull you an herbal card as well. All right, so let's return to the concept of it's the lunar eclipse in Leo. What are we even talking about? There's nodes of the moon. Those of you who are not like astrology geeks like I am, this may be like, I don't want to hear it, but it explains what people are talking about when they're saying nodes of the moon. Okay, here's the moon, and it tends to follow, I'm trying to do this backwards so you can see it like a mirror image. The nodes of the moon are basically where they think the sun is going, but the moon is following it in a backwards rotation, orbit of the moon. So basically, let's imagine that the sun went, clockwise. Is that clockwise to you? I guess so. That's counterclockwise. Okay, so here's the sun going clockwise, and the moon is going to follow the same path, but going the other way. It's basically always going to be retrograde to the sun. And so when here's the earth, the sun's over here, and they're sort of like kind of chasing each other, but crossing over, if that makes sense. Lots of movement up there, right? The north node is when here's the earth, it's the path of the moon on the northern side of the earth, right? And then the south node is the path of the moon when it's down here. So this particular cycle, it's rotating around, and notice it's not exact. This is you facing it. It's not ever going to be like an exact circle, right? It's going to orbit kind of like an oval maybe, or an elliptical, or whatever you want to call it. And right now, when it's in its south node, it's in Capricorn, the sign of Capricorn. And when it comes back up to the north node, it's in the sign of Cancer. Well, the last 2 years, it was doing this with a Leo in north node and Aquarius in south node. So they call that the Leo Aquarius axis, right? This lunar eclipse is the tail end of that Leo Aquarius axis. And now, because it's going backwards, we're in the Cancer and Capricorn axis, okay? I know that may not make sense, but we've shifted. This lunar eclipse closes that Leo Aquarius axis, and now we're in the Cancer and Capricorn axis, the nodes of the moon. All right. Why is this a big deal? Well, it depends on what house your nodes fall under. Okay. For some people, it's more affecting than others. Most of us, this is basically what I've been talking about. What is Capricorn? Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, father time, Chronos, divine masculine, the protective father archetype, the dad, I want to go run off with my boyfriend and marry him. And he goes, not going to happen. That kind of energy. That's Saturn, right? Then you come up here to Cancer. And Cancer is your mother, the divine mother, emotions, love, intuition, ruled by the moon, right? And so here we are. We've got this divine feminine, divine masculine, and it's not that they're pitted against each other, but that they're working with each other, right? They're working with each other. And you may feel this enormous push-pull of the need to, over here in Cancer, now mind you, one more little detail about the nodes. This north node represents kind of your shadow self, or something that you're weak at, and or not as strong in, and it's a way in which your soul needs some evolution. The south node is the place where you're comfortable, it's a strength of yours. And in our culture, we're very strong at over masculine energy, like doing, linear thinking, has to be proven by science, that sort of thing. It's a norm, it's a normative value, okay? Where in our culture, we're being asked to take on some divine feminine, the new feminine paradigm. The new paradigm isn't basically the matriarchy, where we swing from here's patriarchy over here to matriarchy, which is the women are taking over. No, it's asking us to come into balance, right? Both are equally important. So back to this. We're over here and we're in our south node of Cancer, which is a little bit difficult for us. It's a little bit difficult for us to be in our feminine. It's something that we need work on. We need to strengthen in our culture, in our personal lives, and internally. A lot of women in our culture are overly masculine. And I don't mean that like, on a very gendered, rigid way of thinking. What I mean is we don't value allowing creativity, surrender, getting quiet, going within, respecting our intuition. We need like proof before, but more and more of us are becoming, that we're making this a greater value in our culture, open-heartedness. So this is where the evolution of the planet, the moon in particular, is asking our culture to be more mindful of the divine feminine, essentially. It's coming up in our subconscious and it's becoming a big deal. So the next 2-year cycle is basically asking us for this balance. It's going to be really forefront in our minds. What does this look like in your daily life? Should I take care of myself, clear my schedule, self-nurture? That's Cancer. That's the inner feminine. That's allowing. That's surrender. Or do I take on all these duties over here and exhaust myself, right? So it's a push-pull between self-nurture and responsibility. It's also asking us to be mindful of our responsibility to self versus responsibility to the other. Okay, what do I mean by responsibility for the other? Many of us, especially women who are in a very nurturing, open-hearted, can tend to be too giving, right? They're giving to the other when they need to give to themselves, or they're feeling overly responsible for the emotional well-being of the other. That's how a lot of women relate. At the same time, I don't want to overgeneralize and say that's all women, because it's not. If you're, I've done a lot of work with early childhood trauma. If you have relational trauma from childhood, where you had maybe a parent who made you more responsible for their feelings, and you undervalued how you felt, your own preferences, you may then take this pattern of ignoring the self-nurture, and being responsible, doing the emotional heavy lifting for the other in your adult relationships. So this period of time is asking you, it's going to come up as maybe conflict in your life. Hey, I don't want to do this for you because it's causing resentment for me. I need to do this for me, and I can't if I'm taking care of you. A lot of that push-pull stuff going on right now. And it has to do with no one's better than the other, or each side feels justified. But this axis is asking you to understand that separation is an illusion. So there's no sides, there's no one better than the other. Each one is an aspect of the other. The same way the moon is an aspect of the sun. They do a dance with each other, right? That's sacred union. That's divine union. That's what the new paradigm is asking for. That you can't live and believe that you're actually separate from the other. Okay? So let me check. Looks like I got a couple more messages here. Okay, so Marva wants an animal card. And then Leslie, animal card. Okay. And Julie, I'm going to pull an animal card for you too. A lot of animal energy. Ooh, sweet. Nia saw a peak of the full moon in the UK. Yes. It's okay. So just so you know, the full moon, like the eclipse, the total eclipse is going to be coming into I forget the term, where it's basically fully being covered by the earth. I think the height of it is going to be around 11:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. But it starts covering and eclipsing, the earth starts covering and eclipsing the moon around 10:40 Central Standard Time. I don't know what that looks like for, I think, what is that? 9:15 Pacific Standard Time, and then midnight 15 for Eastern Standard Time. So this is a great night to get out there or just even watch it, to be like, wow, that's cool. Take some pictures. Just acknowledge this huge energy. If you are normally a ceremonialist, this is a great time to do some personal ceremony to honor this process. Moon being your internal machinations, okay? I say do some personal ritual, because it's a time to, yes, be one with others, but one with your inner self, okay? The inner and the outer are coming together. So it's crazy energy. And don't feel obligated. Here we are with the needs of you and the needs of the other coming into play. Don't feel obligated to take along everyone on your journey, your spiritual journey. If you need to get out there and go look at the moon for 15 minutes all by yourself tonight, this is a good time to do it, okay? And it may be a great time to establish some boundaries. This is sort of setting us up for the next 2 years, basically. Nothing is exact. It's just giving you when the energy is most fruitful for this type of transformation, okay? If that makes sense. All right, let me double check. Hey, Stephanie. Yes, Sama says, intense, didn't get to sleep until past 20. Yes. You may have very intense dreams, especially during the eclipse period. Pay attention. Dreams are very prophetic, okay? I've had some very intense dreams. Yes, Stephanie, I can pull a card for you. I'll pull an animal card. And I woke up at like 3:30 in the morning the other night, and I was like, ding, like, why am I awake? And I felt very restless. Well, 3:30 is kind of the witching hour. And then I found out that Floyd, my partner, he was at work, and who's a deputy, and he was fighting with somebody. So you may feel an attachment to others. Your intuitive psychic abilities are much more honed at this time. Nia would like an herbal card. Yeah. Somatic dance is, I think, one of those things that's a feminine art that the embodiment process that we absolutely need to use more during this time. So it's one of those north nodes in Cancer sort of aspects of our culture. We don't use the body as a place of grounding in. It's more the norm to be like disassociated from our body and our culture. So embodiment practices are huge. Yeah, equal partnership. How crazy, right? This is another time. Okay, I don't want to get too big into like political stuff, but the world stage is a perfect example of this push-pull Capricorn Cancer argument. Okay, look at this big issue with the wall and the border. Trump feels very certain that he is absolutely right, and the Democrats feel very certain that they're absolutely right, and neither one ultimately from a spiritual aspect is wrong. They feel very certain based on their own thoughts and processes and values that the way that they are approaching the situation is right. But I will say that the energy is saying the only way to resolve a situation like this is not to be in separation, right? It's to be together, to be open-hearted, to realize that we're all one. You can't separate. It's, put a wall up, literally, quite literally. But that's just my 2 cents. These sort of conflicts are going to come up in this sort of cosmic energy, okay? So, a few more comments. Yay! All right, Mary, lovely to see you. Awesome. Suzanne, welcome. Kristen, welcome. Yay! Awesome. Okay, so I could go in circles talking about this eclipse, but I mean, for me, if you haven't noticed, I've posted like crazy about it the last few days because I'm really feeling this energy. And for those of us who are very intuitive, we've been feeling it too. The other thing, I think I talked a little bit, I have a few notes on this I didn't want to miss anything. This Leo energy that we're talking about, the Leo Aquarius axis, the energy of being in Leo, the sign of Leo, that's the full moon in Leo. I'm feeling this myself. While you're very bold and expressive and loving and caring, you can at times feel very oversensitive to criticism and very reactive. So like you're being called to be mindful that you may be oversensitive. And I've had several incidents over the last week where I was like, I felt very validated in my feelings. Cancer is asking you to honor those feelings, right? Honor your feelings, right? But the Leo aspect of it is saying maybe you're being a little sensitive in your feelings. And so take the ego out of it and kind of relax into it. I think this is a perfect time to maybe withdraw and go within. Keep to yourself, do what you need to do. But if you can't, just be mindful that that's what's going on. Because that can manifest as like, hurt feelings, explosive behavior, having a temper tantrum or two, and wondering like, has everyone gone crazy? Like, I feel like, in my mind, I've had several confrontations with people where I was like, I'm not going to back down. Like, you're totally wrong and I'm right. And what you did was wrong. And like we were not serving anyone. Okay. So let's just go outside. Like I said, ground yourself on Mother Earth with your, bare feet, do some of that brushing, somatic dance. That's when you're feeling high energy, agitation. And by the way, this will all come to a head tonight and then kind of culminate. I wish I could say it's going to get extremely better, but Mars is square Saturn on Monday. When something is square, it's 90 degrees to it, which means square is like oppositional energy. Mars is, I want to go and do. Saturn is not going to happen. So probably not a good week to plan a lot of things. You may want to get up and go, but you may find that it's been being obstructed in ways that ultimately are going to be for your highest good. Okay. So if you're feeling a lot of that, I wanted to do X, Y, Z, and this, and this interfered. I wanted to, for example, I wanted to take this package to the post office or the shipping place. I've been trying to do it for a month and a half, and I get there and it's already been closed for 30 minutes. Little stuff like that, okay? Or even on a bigger scale. Maybe not a good time to start a launch if you have a business, that sort of thing. If you're feeling over conflict, there's absolutely nothing wrong with saying, hey, I'm going to clear my schedule for the next day or two and go within. Wait till the energy's right. What else? Okay, so I think I covered that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up some sacred space for us. First, I'm going to take a sip of water. Get started on this card pull. So let me start up our sweetgrass, tobacco, sage, and cedar. And this is, again, the herbs of the medicine wheel in the 4 directions and the elements. And we're going to call in the 4 winds, 4 directions, the 4 elements, 5 if you consider space. And I do. Space is going to be one of the big elements right now because the eclipse is allowing the energy of space to come in to our space, right? So as I'm lighting this, I'm asking the herbs, the plants to offer their medicine to us, purify us, to bless us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. May we always think thoughts of the highest good. May we always speak things of the highest good. And may we always create things of the highest good. Okay, so calling in the winds of the east, spirit of eagle, condor, place of the rising sun, springtime of our life. This is fire energy, place of the rising sun. This is our father's lineage. We welcome you, spirit of eagle, for showing us how to take the bird's eye view and know that anything is possible as long as we keep our highest good in mind. And we also notice what we need to notice in fine detail here down on earth from a much more elevated spiritual place. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we welcome all of our well ancestors from our father's lineage. Oh. And now calling in the winds of the south. This is earth element. This is spirit of snake. Thank you, Brother Snake, for showing us how to shed old skin, how to travel humbly close to Mother Earth. This is the youth of our lifetime. This is summertime of our life. This is being in full bloom. This is the full moon. This is the culmination of all of our creative efforts. We thank you, Brother Snake, for showing us so many things. This is a time to be the new version of us. This is the lineage of our fathers, mothers, ancestors. And we welcome all of our well ancestors. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now calling in the winds of the west, place of the setting sun, place of releasing. This is water element. We call upon spirit of whale, spirit of dolphin, spirit of jaguar. We thank you for helping us to walk in high integrity, to process our emotions, to harvest the lessons of rites of passage, and to do so with high integrity. This is the adulthood of our life. This is the fall of our lifetime. We thank you, thank you, thank you for showing us how to let go. This is the place of our mother's lineage, and we welcome all our well ancestors. Now to the winds of the north. This is air element, the winter of our lifetime. We welcome in the spirit of elk, caribou, buffalo, hummingbird, the ancient ones. This is the place of our ancestors. This is the place of the winter time of our life where we go within and we become the wise old crone or the wise old man, where we incorporate all of the wisdom of our ancestors into self-knowing. This is maybe the dark night of the soul, where we hibernate and prepare to return to the void, the place for which all things come and to which all things return. We thank you, thank you, thank you. This is the place of our mother's father's lineage, and we welcome all our well ancestors. And to Mother Earth, as always, thank you for nourishing us, giving us a place to live, giving us life-sustaining resources, for always loving us. May we find new ways to bless you and thank you every day. And to Father Sky, we thank you for being all that is, as above, so below, as without, so within. We thank you for the space of the Pistis Sophia, the consciousness of all that is, the mysteries of the universe, for all the star nations. Who knows what is out there? We thank you for the place where thoughts become things, for the dark matter, this living, vital universe that is benevolent and loves us. And as always, we thank Grandmother Moon and Grandfather Sun for dancing in such a loving union to show us the cycles of time and the rhythms of life. I'm going to light this one more time. And I appreciate all of you guys for being here and being in ceremony with me. I'd like to invite my spirit guides my spirit helpers. Special healing lineages of blood and adoption to help guide us here. Spirit of Wolf, as always, thank you for being the greatest teacher. And invite in any spirit helpers of the highest good that you need to help you receive the information you're going to have today. So, all right, got this really intense moon energy. My hands are like tingling. Oh my God, like lots coming out here. Okay, all right, okay, I hear you. Okay, jump to 2. All right. Let me get one thing. So I'm going to pull 4 cards from the herbal deck. Okay. Remember, the full moon is a time of culmination. So I want to get something here to make sure I pull the right information for you. Okay. So the first card I'm going to pull for you is going to be, what can I let come into my awareness? With this like crazy energy, it may be convoluted. What is it underneath all of the hurt feelings, all the stress, all the agitation? What is it that you really are needing to come into awareness about? So for me, I think ultimately, getting into these sort of push-pull confrontations is it's not necessary for someone else to understand your path. If you know that's your path, you must walk it, right? So it's not necessary to have everyone come along. This may be just my personal spirit path, and that's maybe why Wolf Spirit's chosen me, because Wolf often is the great leader and the pioneer, and they go off and they learn lessons for the tribe, and then they bring the lessons back to the pack and teach them. And if you are being called to a life of mysticism, of spiritual service, there are many times when you're going to feel alone and people aren't going to get you. It's because you're strong enough to understand and you have this connection to spirit, and just understand that it's just part of the beingness of it. So let me see. Nia says, I had a dream about seeing through a mirror my grandmother grandmothers are a huge spiritual archetype. I dream of my grandmother visits me quite a bit. Yay, Courtney made it. Welcome. Chris joined. Yay. Okay, Courtney, I'm going to get you an animal card. All right. And then let's see. Lighting a candle. Yes, tiger and heron. Heron is my second chakra, the womb-centered spirit animal. Heron, one of its strengths is how to be steady and strong currents, right? How to maintain your emotional steadiness and strong currents. Yeah, I'm excited about the moon too. Okay, so very first card I'm going to pull. What do we need to come into our awareness? Or what can I let or allow come into my awareness? Next one, what idea or creation can I release within me to the universe? Like what's been brewing since the new moon that you need to let out? Again, I always use the analogy of like the ovary has an egg and ovum in there, and during ovulation it's like it's already built up and built up and built up, and now it's time to burst, and it's already been released, right? What do you need to release? What have you been creating in that ovum? Okay. And then this last card, the third card, what influence will this creation have going forward? Once you released this idea, what impact is it going to have on your life, right? And then this final card, what kind of energy do I need to be in to make this happen, basically, or allow this to happen, to be conducive for this to happen? All right. So, card number 1, Peony, the High Priestess. Okay, we need to come into, again, the divine feminine, right? We've been saying this over and over and over and over and over and over again, but maybe because we need the reminders. Okay. And at the same time, when we talk about power, because we're in a very over masculinized, like, power has a negative connotation for those of us who feel that there's a need for divine feminine. Feminine power is being in your power, just being in your power. You don't have to take anything to be powerful, right? So you already are there, and sit in that. The womb is like your hips. The woman's state of power is in her hips. Our center of gravity is earthy and grounded, right? Stay in that grounded, divine feminine power. That's where you need to be this week. That's what you need to come into your being. And so if you're feeling a little crazy, you're feeling flighty, you're feeling over masculine, I've had to cancel a lot of things the next 2 days to get centered, to come into my power, to come into that state of feminine being. The High Priestess is also, let's see, peony being the flower, or the herb. Okay, the High Priestess embodies the pure power of feminine receptive principle. Okay, also a reminder to, if you're receptive, you may be full of a lot of crap you don't want. Be mindful that you're full of energetic debris that isn't yours. That's that reminder of what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours, being responsible for the self versus the other. To be clear, it's your responsibility to take care of your feelings. So be clear. You get to clear yourself. If someone wants to hand you stress and negativity, you do not have to receive it. We naturally are open and hearted and absorb it, and we're very empathic, but we can choose to say, no, thank you. You take that back. Then you can do it in a loving way and say, I now reflect like a mirror. For me, a wonderful way when I go to work and people are really negative, I'm around inmates and people low resonating, they're going to court, they're not very happy. I put up a mirror. Just take it back. I don't have to fight anything. They're receiving back what's theirs, and I don't have to deflect anything. It's reflecting to them. Okay, so be mindful of what you're receiving, because if you receive a bunch of stuff that you don't want, you aren't going to have the space to receive what you do want, and be mindful of what you really do want, okay? So the High Priestess has many names in her past, and at one point was none other than the Egyptian goddess Isis. I even pulled out my Isis cards here. So I don't know, maybe she wants to talk to us. Who was able to give life to the god Osiris after his death. Thus, around her neck is the sacred Ankh, the key of life. She was also the Virgin Mary, the divine feminine. This is asking for us to embody the divine feminine, right? Who contained within herself the seed of spirit to be manifested on earth. It's also a very feminine aspect to take what's up here in spirit and bring into the physical realm, right? What is childbirth? It's taking a spirit from heaven and bringing them here to the earth, right? This is a very profound gift and ability of the feminine body, right? So let's honor that. We don't need to go out and over masculinize ourselves. We're taking away. When we're busy doing that, we're filled up on what we're not supposed to be doing, and we're not embracing what we already have the gifts of being. Okay, so her left foot rests on the crescent moon, symbolizing her dominion of and oneness with inner reflection and the natural cycles of life. This crazy super blood wolf moon is asking you to really reflect on what's inside, the inner reflection, okay, and the natural cycles of life. The moon's going to be full, and then in a couple of days, we're going back into the new moon. It's not going to last, right? So learn to be in a flowing place. Learn to do things when the energy is auspicious, when things are right, okay? Right meaning what feels right, okay? Being in a feeling place. Enthroned between the two pillars of light and dark, she's in a state of silent equilibrium, okay? With a veil over her eyes, she's mute, looking within to the subconscious, in other words, to the consciousness that resides behind all the outer manifestations. So everything that's in front of your eyes is there because it was conceived of behind your eyes in the spirit realm, right? So that act of thoughts becoming things is actually a very feminine principle. So, which we all, men and women, have the capability of embodying. So she knows there's a uniting consciousness behind all aspects of life. The color blue of her garment and the clouds in the sky are indicative of the watery element over which she reigns. Watery element, Cancer, moon, which is very much in charge of the tides, of the oceans, your emotions. This is asking you to get clear on what your emotions are and ride the waves of it. Don't be thrown under in the tumble, okay? Water is the source of life in that it contains all the thoughts and substances needed for life's expression. Through our own inner high priestess, we're able to tap into our potential creativity and are better able to understand how all aspects of our life are united. Again, what was I saying? We're not separate. Nothing is separate. We're all one. It's an illusion. When we start thinking that we're separate from the other, or my need and your need are superior, it's this dance, this balance that we're being called to notice, take note of. Spiritual properties of a peony root are, it helps to foster and harmonize the feminine energy within. So if you're having difficulty, if you're really over masculinized, like you overschedule, you're too busy, maybe you're a very Saturnine masculine trait is the need to be right. I have a Capricorn rising. I need to be right a lot, and I have a lot of masculine traits. And when I say right, I mean as in like, that's the law. Of course, this is the way you're supposed to be. And you're feeling right and righteous and that sort of thing. It's helping you harmonize some of that. Kind of let it go. Okay, I maybe don't need to worry about that right now. It allows the circulation of our subconscious to flow and move, thus enabling us to get in touch with our essential nature. When you're feeling stuck in rightness, like Congress is right now, they're not going to get anywhere. They're at a standstill. Okay, we need a heavy dose. Let's all pray for our government that they need a heavy dose of divine feminine energy to get unstuck and come up with a solution that reflects that we're all one, okay? Regardless of political preferences, right? A woman who uses this herb on a regular basis will learn how to accept and work with the metamorphosis she goes through from childhood, puberty, motherhood, menopause, and then the wise old crone. Yeah, be mindful of your energy flow as a woman. We have different energy flows. I am very mindful that it's the week before my moon cycle and I am very agitated. And so I had to clear my schedule. Like I said, I wasn't paying attention to it. I don't think it's the most auspicious time for me trying to create something. I'm maybe being argumentative, sensitive, whatever, etc. It's asking you to take a look at what am I feeling right now? Is this a good time to do this? And it's okay to say no and have boundaries, right? The beautiful peony flower has a vibration of softness yet deep vitality, which is indicative of the basic yin. or feminine energy from which all of life receives its foundation. Okay. This receives its foundation. The very feminine nature of also preparing a place for creation to take place. That's our job, right? Making just the right space, a beautiful little nest, energetic nest for the life that we want to become pregnant with, right? Interesting analogy. But it's that idea. We get to decide what we're preparing for and what we're holding space for, right? So peony root really gives you the essence of this. Commonly used in Chinese herbalism. It's used with other female herb tonics such as dong quai, false unicorn root, and raspberry leaf to strengthen those aspects of the blood and female hormones necessary for the monthly cycle of learning to literally go with the flow. Carrying a piece of the root in a pouch will remind the wearer to be in tune with her inner knowing. Okay, this is just asking you be in tune with your inner knowingness, and if that inner knowingness is saying slow down, we need to chill, maybe we're stuck somewhere, let's take a break. Not capitulating, but there's a feminine quality to surrendering. Okay. Affirmation. I open my heart to the answers that lie within me. I see the perfection and unity in all things. Also, maybe be in wonderment of how perfect things are just by being, right? Okay. That's what we're trying to let come into our fruition over this full moon period, okay? Next, what can I release from within me? What am I birthing? The Four of Pentacles, Cascara bark. Okay. Cascara Sagrada is another holy wood. Four of Pentacles. Pentacles being some earth energy. Okay. The woman sits on a neat and orderly checkerboard floor. Her head is covered with a close-fitting scarf, and she has a tight look about her. She's reached a place within herself where she feels secure and centered. Okay, what have we been talking about? If you're not feeling grounded, invite this feminine energy and get to this centered place, right? And wood, if you need to call upon wood, use some cascara bark or Palo Santo. Rely on wood, the element, to maybe go out in the trees, be in nature, get centered. This is how you call upon plant medicine. Thank you, these beautiful, looks like redwoods here, for your energy. Like, I surround myself with them because they give me a grounding energy. And get outside in nature. Nature therapy is going to help you really get that centeredness, that groundedness. So she understands structure and order and will use these tools to actualize her visions. Structure and order being, I'm in charge of my schedule. I cut off all the stuff I added up and piled up in there in a very over-masculinized way. And I cleared it and I structured space in my life. That's what you need to do to add in your feminine, aspect of creating space. So, she is able to reserve and direct her power and will defend her position when necessary. So when you're feeling at the mercy of others, remember, mercy of others meaning like their schedule. I have 75 appointments this week and they're all related to stuff that other people need me to do. You get to say no. You get to say, I don't feel like being available for that right now. I don't feel like, or make arrangements if it's something for your child. Can someone take them to that appointment? Can someone take them to soccer practice? I absolutely need, an hour to myself sometime this week, and look forward to that time. That's my me date. A woman must watch she doesn't get so tight that she becomes fixated and stubborn. I've had some of that stubborn energy today, yesterday. I mean, especially with my partner, God bless him, we went to the store and he was fussing at me and I fussed at him and he walked off on me in the store, and I was like, oh God. As another one of those, like, I feel absolutely right and he feels absolutely right. So either we both decide, okay, don't be stubborn, just move on, right? So if she begins to think that her power comes from the status she holds or from her possessions, then she will begin to function in a fearful way and forget that the true power is divine spirit flowing through her. Okay, that's really important. I don't want to gloss over that, but it's self-explanatory. In the background is an outhouse, which indicates she may become spiritually constipated. Cascara bark is a laxative, by the way. If it's telling you, go with the flow, you need to be more in the flow. If you're very rigid, you're going to break. You need to be bendable, flexible, okay? You may need a spiritual laxative to loosen up a bit. If we're so busy navel-gazing this week, meaning like worrying about self-exploration, take a break. Go watch a movie that makes you laugh or takes you, just a little bit of escapism to help you loosen up on the thing that you're fixated on. Do that. Add more pleasure into your life, okay? On the other hand, she must take care not to let things pass through without absorbing their full intent and meaning. That's why I say ceremony is important. Rite of passage. You may have been feeling really crazy this whole week. If you don't go out and you don't at least thank Grandmother Moon for her energy and the influence that she's having over you, you may feel like, what was all this about for this week? And it may not feel like you really truly processed all that inner agitation. It's important to process and just at least give thanks or some form of ceremony to show that you are processing this passage through time. Spiritually, this herb, also known as Cascara Sagrada, will enable one to let go of fixed and outmoded thoughts and ideas. Might need to be right. Old experiences will be loosened up and released so there's not a condition of spiritual and mental constipation and toxicity. Let's just pray for this consciousness in the world, humanity. Let's try to be more open-minded. Let's try to be more unified here. But let's absorb where we're at right now. Okay, this is where we happen to be at. The bitter principles of cascara bark stimulate the secretions of the entire digestive system. The digestive system is the thing that absorbs nutrients from the food you take in. This is asking you, one, take in things that will nourish you. There's that self-care thing. But two, if you're stuck up on things that aren't good for you, let it go, but process why it wasn't good for you maybe. To relieve spiritual constipation, carry a piece of the bark in a pouch. To me, that's the closest way to take on the essence of the plant. I have a little mini leather pouch. It's way over on my altar. I leave it there. You can carry it in your pocket, on your person. Ideally, it's supposed to be on you, like an amulet maybe. For me, it's not practical when I'm in uniform to have that, but I can write the words on a piece of paper and put it in my uniform pocket. Immobility, where was I? The herbal essence may be taken whenever one feels a need to loosen up. You can go to extracts from health food stores. You can go to Mountain Rose Herbs, ask, buy the herb itself, make a tea out of it. Use a small dose of the tincture before meals, 6 to 10 drops, okay? Just remember, obviously, if you're pregnant, this is not necessarily for you. Follow medical advice. I acknowledge my spiritual power and security. I discover my faith within. So this ability to go with the flow and literally release what's not needed, not to get stuck, okay, not to become creatively or spiritually constipated, that's the state of being that we're releasing now. We're giving birth to that right now. All by being in our divine feminine. That's the awareness that we're letting come into our state of being. So this next card, what influence will this creation have going forward? So we're in our divine feminine. We're not letting ourselves get creatively constipated or spiritually constipated, and we're going with the flow. What is going to be the result of that? Okay, perfect. Before I show this card, I'm going to check the comments here. Chris says, how do we figure out what spirit animal or animals do we have? That is a whole other conversation. Sometimes the spirit animal, well, to be quite honest with you, totems pick you. A great book to talk about that is Clan of the Cave Bear. But I don't want to get sidetracked. It's another good book to read is Animal Speak, I think by Ted Andrews. Talks about totems and messengers and all that. Hi, Brenda. Courtney said she got that card before recently. So Marva says, I'm learning a lot on this live. Thank you so much. It's comforting to know that my spiritual development might cause me to feel alone, and I don't have to bring everyone along with me. Not all will hear my offerings. Only those who are the right stage of their own reconnection with spirit will connect with me. This is very true. It's hard to remember that a lot of people want to stay asleep. Like, a lot of us are coming together because we've chosen to do the work to become more aware. Not everyone wants to do this. This isn't their spirit path. And so sometimes when you are the healer, the shaman archetype, the medicine person for your community, you sometimes have to be separate from them a little bit to go off and, live in your hut on the outskirts of town. That's just the way it is. My mama loved peonies. Yes, they're very feminine, beautiful. Chris says, last 2 days I've been rejecting the negative. I need positive encouraging. Yep, absolutely. Aw, welcome, Nicole and Courtney. I feel so lucky we've met as well. Yes, plants, nature therapy, absolutely. Giving ourselves permission to say no for our personal care. Yeah, for many of us especially in the American woman's culture, being busy and having PMS and horrible periods feels like a community gripe. Like we're all busy. We all, I PMS, and it feels like our dissatisfaction in this area is the norm, and we get to change that. Okay. I don't think it's normal for me to be dissatisfied. I don't think it's normal that I feel upset about menstruation. PMS to me is how well I treated myself and honored my feelings and boundaries up until my period. How my period is a thermometer, an indication or a barometer of my own personal energy flow for the month. So just keep that in mind. So this last card, or this card that I pulled, what influence will this creation have going forward? We're in our feminine energy. We're letting go. We're being more relaxed. We're not staying so rigid. Temperance, echinacea, the herb echinacea. Most of us know echinacea as that herb you take to prevent yourself from getting sick, okay? Getting the cold. I take echinacea on the regular for immune support, echinacea and golden seal together. But primarily I took those because it has this, a preventative, almost like coating, protective, self-nourishing aspect to it. And I think when we embody temperance or calm inner centeredness, that's protection against the world, really, because you don't have to take on all that stress. That's your immune support to avoid stress altogether, right? Okay, Temperance, ruled by Sagittarius, is an idealistic and adventurous person. Her blue garment is the yin, watery, intuitive self, and the red belt is the yang, fire element of action. The rising sun shows that a new life is unfolding. Its golden color represents divine light, and the fire within it lets one dare to honor inner values. The solar emblem on our brow is the sixth chakra opening, your third eye, okay? Having the bird's eye view, having a higher self view of what's going on, okay? She's receptive to the guidance given to her by those beings who are forever vigilant to the needs of the aspirant. There you are, needs of yourself, needs of the other, okay? Please understand, your needs are super important, and then those of the other are super important, because together you're one, right? After coming through death, which is like the rebirth of the old, she's ready to experiment with her new life and is working on balancing the polarities within, the masculine and the feminine. This is, what are we trying to do? We're trying to balance out our inner masculine, inner feminine. We're trying to balance out our inner Cancer, Capricorn polarities, right? With balance, you find that space where you're already one, okay? Through trial and error and with intuition and logic, she'll transform energy into artistry. Okay, let this exploration be fuel for your projects, for your mission in life, for your artistry. Example, maybe you want to open a retreat center. Maybe you want to produce artwork for women that expresses their frustration over the patriarchy. Something, whatever it is. It's just life. Art imitates life. What we're going through right now is asking you to express it. When it's not expressed, that emotion, it turns into dis-ease or stuck, stagnant energy in your body. This is saying, don't be stuck, don't be stagnant. Express these things. Don't pretend you're all right if you're really not. Honor those feelings. It's okay. All right? Echinacea on a spiritual level assists in adjusting to changes and in harmonizing polarities. If you're not feeling okay, call on Echinacea. How do I get okay with this? If okay with it means I'm not accepting what I don't want to accept, but I don't feel like anger and frustration on the inside all the time. How do I get to that place of peace and centeredness, of temperance, really? Moreover, the cone top of Echinacea creates a spiraling vision if looked at from the top. It's quite mesmerizing, very much like a mandala, the sacred spiral in sacred geometry, right? Okay, Echinacea builds an inner protection against harmful outside influences. You find your strength from within, right? You don't expect to change your environment around you. You are the barometer. You're not the weather. You get to determine how you. You're the weather. You're not the thermometer. You get to decide what your emotions are. You get to decide how you're feeling. Do that ahead of time. You're not at the mercy of others because you've already decided, I want to feel peaceful. I want to feel relaxed. And when I enter into this type of situation, I get stressed out. And so I am not available for those types of situations. You get to do that. I know that when I make too many appointments during the weeknights, I start getting really stressed out. So I've had to clear my schedule. Now, if you reach a point where you're like, if I don't make appointments during the week, I can never accomplish this goal that I set out for myself, then it's time to rearrange other areas of your life if that goal is really important for you. If you're never able to meet your goals because the structure of your life is not conducive to what you really want, you got to make some changes, some significant changes. Maybe you need to hire a sitter. Maybe you need to have a conversation with your mate. We get into these arguments all the time, and I think it's really important that you understand that this me time is important to me. I need Tuesday nights from 4 to 9 for me, and it's non-negotiable. That's temperance. That's saying this is what I need, and you're not doing it in a forceful way, right? So this is safe, and Echinacea is a safe and effective herb that can be used as an adult and children. The tincture of the powdered herb can be put on external cuts and infections as well. There's literal ways of using it, and then there's spiritual properties to it. So echinacea, I use it in a dropper, 30 drops in water in the morning, like a daily tonic. The affirmation is, through artistry and daring, I create new visions for myself. And creating a protective coating. Protect that which is important to you. And peace of mind is important to you, right? Being stressed out should not be your norm. Okay. So what energy do I need to be in to affect all of this? The Fool. The Fool. I love this card. The Fool sounds a little bit misleading at first. Like it's foolish or off-putting, or you're unaware. But really, the Fool represents a brand new you. It's the very first card of the major arcana of all of the tarot deck. And so it kind of represents generative behavior. Like, start out as you plan to continue, right? Ginseng, a warming herb, gives you that motivation. When you're a fool, you're young and idealistic, right? The Fool is our most inner self, who is limitless, boundless, and adventurous and immortal. It's asking you to be in this open-hearted space to really create and be idealistic about what you want in your life. Okay? Because of his inner, and by the way, this is setting the tone for the next 2 years when you're creating this balance of divine, masculine, and feminine. The Fool, you need that real, like, kind of pie in the sky sort of energy to create something that's never been, right? Most people, well, that's crazy. That's never going to happen. Nobody's ever done that before. Of course. That's why I'm creating it, because no one else has ever done it before. That's the energy you need to be in. And other people will say, that guy's a fool. What an idiot. Like, they're just so idealistic. Who cares? Again, you don't need to take somebody else along with you on your journey. It's your journey, right? And now I'll reiterate what I mentioned in a post earlier this week. Robin Sharma talks about his haters and why you should love your haters, because haters are really just upset because of the pain of their own potential unexpressed. People may be looking at you and calling you a fool because they don't have the courage to envision their life the way you are living yours, okay? You don't need their approval, okay? So, because of his innocent trust in the divine, the Fool steps forward fearlessly. You trust that Spirit's going to take care of you, oblivious of the impending cliff which will tumble him down through the world of experiences and adventures. You need to stay in this sort of spiritual energy because the real world will drag you down with practicalities, okay? He will use these gifts and powers as needed during his sojourn as an incarnated spirit. Uranus, an erratic, revolutionary, and eccentric planet, is the ruler of the Fool, thus he may appear to be crazy and outlandish and creative and original. I know that this eclipse has some last dwindling energy of Uranus. I think it's at like 1 degree of Uranus or something to that effect. But I don't remember the exact aspect. So there is the great disruptor, which is Uranus energy, to this eclipse. And sometimes you need this very idealistic energy to disrupt the status quo. He's free of self-imposed restrictions, and he's open to change and inspiration. The Fool, being key 0, is above all the other 21 major keys, and thus he has freedom of movement. Basically, if you shoot for the moon, you'll hit the sidewalk. If you shoot for the stars, you'll hit the moon. Okay? This is what this is saying. He can appear in our lives when we least expect him. He encourages us to be more detached in the roles that we play and reminds us of our true beingness as children of the Great Spirit. He's a visual representative of the Tao, or the void, which is nothing and everything. The place from which all things come and to which the place which all things return. So, in the plant world, ginseng provides pure motivation and creative energy within each person. That's what you need right now, pure motivation. I feel the boundless divine energy flowing through me. I enthusiastically walk my path in life. That's where you need to be this week. Okay, that concludes the group reading. And now I'm going to pull a card for Kimberly, Bethany, Maury, and Nia for herbal. And I'm going to give you guys we got quite a bit of people who asked for a card. So this one's for Kimberly, Bethany, Maury, and Nia. Okay. Sip of water here. This one's for Kimberly. Knight of Swords, Wild Cherry Bark. I haven't pulled this one in a while. Sword, some air energy. Swords. Okay. The Knight of Swords bravely moves forward in pursuit of his ideals and dreams. An arch defender of truth, he's willing to risk and suffer all for the sake of honesty and righteousness. Something about this is super important this week. You got something going on that you're speaking your truth. You need to stand in your truth, and you're all about honesty and righteousness. He will cut through all excesses and unclarity. He's willing to speak his ideas and opinions. However, he must watch that he doesn't do this at the expense of others. Aggressive and brave in speaking his mind, he must take care that these traits do not change into willfulness, manipulation, and impatience. Remember, balance things out. If you're feeling really passive, maybe you need some aggressiveness to come into a place of assertiveness. If you're feeling overbearing, just bear that in mind and kind of tone it down a little bit. But this is asking you for that forceful energy, okay? Maybe you need that to affect change. Wild cherry bark will enable us to relax and open up the lung energy in order to take a deep breath. Allowing ideas and thoughts to be articulated and brought out without fear and apprehension. You get to ask for what you want and not be afraid to ask for it, okay? For those who have an excess of the Knight of Swords energy, wild cherry bark will take the edge off any compulsiveness that may accompany speaking one's mind. So when you speak your mind, do it in a judicious manner. Like, I'm not just barking orders. I'm stating in a very direct way what I need. Medicinally, wild cherry bark has been used to calm the respiratory nerves and allay coughs and asthma. When you cough a lot, metaphysically, a cough that doesn't go away is someone who is asking you to pay attention to them. Their needs matter. They want you to tend to their needs. So this cherry bark energy is saying, this is that tending energy. I'm tending to my needs by stating my truth, okay? Keywords: willing to seek ideals and speak your mind. Watch for being too harsh with words. Need to consider the needs of others. That's a huge deal right now. My needs versus your needs. Like, do I cook dinner or do I go take a nap after work? This sort of push-pull thing is going on, right? And you have to, at the heart of it, understand what your priorities are. Do I want my family to feel cared for, etc., whatever story it is? What's my goal? Like, or if I'm so exhausted, how can my family feel cared for? Can I say, hey, Saturday I'm going to cook a lovely 4-course meal for all of us, but right now I need to rest? Something like that. Willing to seek ideals and speak your mind. I already went over that. With strength and clarity, I move forward in pursuit of my dreams and visions. Okay. That's for Kimberly. All right. One more sip of water here. This is for Bethany. King of Pentacles. This is some earth energy. Alfalfa. I always think of alfalfa sprouts. That's the only way I ever eat alfalfa. Notice the seeds, like wheatgrass and alfalfa sprouts. That's where most of their nutrients are when they're in the seed. What do you call it? The seedling stage, because the essence of all that it is there, right? I don't know why that's relevant, but just thought I'd mention that. Okay. The King of Pentacles is seated on a throne of rock and is looking directly at the viewer. His robe of red indicates his ability to confront and deal directly with the needs and requirements of living on the earth. Again, kind of like Kimberly's card, the need to confront your needs is there. Patience, willpower, and understanding of how the world works are his talents. He knows the body is a temple for spirit and sees the material world as a stage for spiritual growth. Maybe for you, part of asking for your needs to be met and expecting them to be met is part of your spiritual growth. Okay. He works to achieve stability in finances, health, emotions, and in his home. He's goal-oriented and reaches for the heights of success. The king must watch that he doesn't get so fixed on his goals, achievements, and rewards that he forgets the spirit behind material manifestations, and thus becomes stubborn, selfish, resistant to change, and overly focused on material security. What does that look like? Getting my needs met is I feel nourished inside so that I can go forth and be a healthy, loving, available, emotionally available human being, versus becoming a tyrant and, demanding things. There's a difference. There's the spirit behind it of what's the point of getting your needs met? So I feel well and whole, right? And when I'm in a place of wellness and wholeness, I give of myself the best. Alfalfa helps to assimilate nutrients and material treasures. It helps us discover that which is of true worth and value. This is saying what's truly important to you. Is it love and acceptance from family? Is it I just need the space to get the things done that I need to do for my divine mission? What is it that you're truly valuing for your soul's evolution right now? Okay. It coincides with herbal lore that it attributes to alfalfa the spiritual power to remove anxieties about money. Taking alfalfa helps us to see our talents and worldly accomplishments as tools for our spiritual reflections rather than as reasons to become more fixed and rigid. Carrying some alfalfa in a pouch will help both the assimilation of and reception of those qualities and tangible objects that have real value. From such a place of inner security, we can remain stable and grounded without being fixated on past achievements. The herbal essence may be taken as needed to achieve this result as well. So you can add alfalfa, frankly, to soups, salads, or steam it as a vegetable, almost like spinach. Keywords for alfalfa: mastery of the workings of the world, goals, achievement, management of finances and values, being grounded and responsible for one's earthly existence. Kind of being a sovereign being, essentially. I work with the earth and all her gifts to see more clearly the manifestation of my spiritual self. Your inner self, your highest self, is being manifested more in the physical world. So, what part of your highest self do you want to bring forth further? Ask yourself that. That is for Bethany. And then I have a card for Maury. Ooh, Page of Wands, Shepherd's Purse. I haven't seen this in a while. Wands is some fire energy. I don't think I pulled that card in a while. Page of Wands. Fire energy is always about making things move. Page of Wands. The Page of Wands depicts a youthful traveler looking at a sunrise. The card symbolizes the dawning of new opportunities. This is an excellent time for new beginnings for you. There's still a way to travel to achieve one's final goal, and there is the assurance of its presence in a not too distant future. The page symbolizes a youth who's looking for the best place to use his boundless enthusiasm and energy. It's saying be really careful about what you want to manifest in your life. Put your energy towards that. Don't let your energy get squandered elsewhere at things that maybe are related to what you think you should do, but aren't really what you want to do. Such an individual may need to come to the realization that his innate fear and insecurity is preventing a deepening of experience. Like not being afraid to really want what you really want. Because of this, there is a tendency to hold himself back from the rewards and satisfaction of forming deep and lasting commitments. Maybe you do really want XYZ. It's time to own it and then jump forward and do it. Shepherd's purse invigorates the life force within, the chi, the prana. Get control of that. Where's your energy going? Okay. Is your spirit calling you to do something and you're not going there? It's time for you to get okay with your inner desires and do that thing. It strengthens the will and spiritual tenacity. So, do you have a hidden dream you're not letting come to fruition? It's time to let it out. Shepherd's purse is primarily used as an astringent to stop bleeding. It is especially useful for excessive vaginal and urinary bleeding. There is a sense of regulating fire by regulating bleeding. Hemorrhaging is to me where you're bleeding out your life force. Where are you bleeding out your life force that you're not meant to be doing that right now? It's taking away from your essence. If you're giving too much in this area, you need to get control of where you're hemorrhaging out that energy. And it may show up in physical ailments too. If you're very heavy periods, I had this issue too. I was bleeding out my life force in working too hard, feeling like I was responsible for everything. It's time for you to take control of that and stop the hemorrhaging of the energy, of your life's blood, of whatever it is that's preventing you from having the proper space or auspicious energetic space to create the thing that you really want, this hidden dream that you're not going towards, okay? Because it's costing you something. It's costing you well-being. It's costing you your spirit. Your spirit, your heart isn't matched up with what's going on out here. So you got to take care of that. Optimism, new dawn, hope, opportunity, acknowledging inner strengths and talents. Definitely you get to have what you want. Just remember that. With all fears and insecurities aside, clarity and single-mindedness is the key to my success. That's from Maury. Remember this. All right. And then we have Nia. Ooh, one of my favorite herbs, burdock. 4 of Cups. Cups being water energy and very auspicious, of course, related to our emotions. A woman watching the stream of life appears satiated and disinterested in the offering of the 4 cups before her. Sometimes it seems that despite achieving all the rewards of friendship, family, children, something yet is missing. It may be difficult to feel connected with what is happening in the outer world when we feel disconnected from the self within. I'm going to reiterate what I told Maury. If your spirit's calling you to something else, maybe 10 years ago, I felt like motherhood, raising kids, all that should have brought me a sense of satisfaction. And it wasn't, because I wasn't honoring who I was. My relationship at the time wasn't where it was supposed to be. Who I was being and showing up in the relationship as a mother and a wife wasn't making me happy. So even though society would say, you have everything, you're married, you have 2 beautiful children at the time, etc. If you're unable to take in the satisfaction of like what people say you should have and the abundance of whatever, it may not be what you really want at the soul level, okay? So this happens. People have these like sort of crises of the identity. I went to school, I became a doctor. I hate this. I'd rather go be an esthetician and paint nails. It's something of that nature where you're like, I have it all, but why do I not feel satisfied? again, nothing is lost if we allow a few opportunities and experiences to pass us by. This also may be a fear of missing out. You're staying busy, busy, busy because you have that fear of missing out. And maybe somewhere underneath that is fear of abandonment, the need to attach to the other. Be attached to yourself. Unplug from that other or that feeling of I'm missing out or not getting what I need or whatever it is. Put it back into yourself and stay grounded within. And say, I have everything I need. I give myself everything I need. Everything I need is coming to me. Allow the flowing stream to carry with it random thoughts and ideas until it eventually runs clear. So if you're feeling really plugged up on like chaotic thoughts, that could be when you're full up on what you don't want, you don't have the space for what you do want. Do stream of consciousness journaling, like get some of the crazy thoughts out. You can even do like a spiral. Like I had one of those, I used to journal where I had this thought, yeah, but this thought led to this thought, and that thought led to this thought, and then, drawing little arrows. Well, if I do this, then this, I would say, if I do this, then this will mean this. And if I'm over here, I'm upset or afraid of that because of this. And you then get to the root. Oh, well, the ultimate thing is I'm afraid of being left alone. I'm afraid of being abandoned. That's the root of my issue. This is saying, like, get good at excavating the root of your issue. And like it's saying, allow the flowing stream to carry with it random thoughts and ideas until it eventually runs clear. Till maybe you just needed to get rid of monkey mind, monkey chatter in your head and go, all I wanted was some peace and quiet. You'll get to the root of what you really want, okay? Perhaps it's time to contemplate those things which are of more lasting value, okay? Or might it not be time to remain alert and take notice of the further opportunities that life may offer? Don't overlook the gifts offered to you. Be grateful for the smallest blessing in your life, right? So burdock root offers many opportunities for healing. It will help the emotions and watery self to flow more freely while nurturing the self to be more content and stable. If you're feeling angry all the time or frustrated all the time, burdock root is really good for that. It gets anger, resentment out of the body. Bias, excess ambition will be relieved. I think anger, aggression, excess ambition is over masculinization. So maybe, and I don't say that in like to be a man is bad at all, but if you're a woman, it's not really your true state of being, right? You're not necessarily meant to over embody masculine energy if you're not balancing it with the feminine. Honor that inner feminine. Let go of some of that stagnation and discontent with what you have, and it'll clear up and transform it into like a more positive perspective. Burdock root, also called gobo, has blood strengthening properties. Blood strengthening. Blood is like the root, your life force. And so when you strengthen your own blood, your inner strength, you're not seeking nourishment from anything other than within, right? Burdock root and seeds are a near specific for skin ailments such as eruptions of pimples, acne, boils, styes. Skin eruptions are inner frustration, anger coming to the surface, right? Serving as a cleanser of the blood and lymphatic system, burdock is indicated for most joint pains and to help eliminate tumors. Excellent for inner inflammation, chronic stress. The root can be worn as an amulet to invoke the feelings of being nurtured and cleansed of stagnation. I nurture myself. I give myself everything I need. You have that power within you. Okay? Affirmation, I am open to the blessings that come my way and find inner contentment each day. So that's for Nia. All right. And now I'm going to set the herbal deck aside. Ooh. And pull out my animal cards. I got quite a few, so I'm going to do them a little bit at a time. Okay. Is there anybody still on that wants me to read their card? Who's still here that I haven't read their card? Ooh, let me get back and look at this. Okay. My daughter is here watching. Oh, awesome. You're welcome, Kimberly. And Bethany, you love the Fool. Awesome. I know exactly what this relates to. I've been doing so serious throat chakra healing, and I currently have a chest cold. Imagine that. The King of Pentacles came up for me last week. I need his energy in my life right now. I need the sense of confidence and strength that a king inspires. Absolutely. I feel like I let Spirit do the talking. That's not me. Hopefully Spirit's talking to you today. I really hope so. And for those of you who are still on, I want to be able to read your card first while you're live. So let me know who's here. There's a new comment. Hey, Pedamon, welcome. Okay, so Marva, okay, I'll get to you. You'll get your card while I'm live. And anybody else who I haven't read your card yet, I want to do yours while you're here listening. And then everyone else can listen on the replay. Let's see. All right. Any comments? Just mention in the comments if you're still here. And I'm gonna give it a second while I'm shuffling the deck one more time. All right. See a couple more comments. Okay. All right, so then we've got Karen and Leslie. Okay. Oh, awesome. I'm so glad you enjoyed that, Nia. And for your first card reading, let me know what you think. I appreciate it. Okay. So far I've seen Marva, Karen, and Leslie, and then that'll leave, who else is still here that I can do while you're live? Because I've got 10 cards to read. So let me do them for people who are here listening, and then I'll do, like I said, the replay. So I've got Marva, Karen, and Leslie. Anyone else still live? Nope. Going, gone. Okay. So this card's for Marva. This card's for Karen. This card's for Leslie. Okay. And then I'll do Holly, Julie, Stephanie, and then Courtney. Courtney, are you still here? Let me know if you're still here. Okay. This card is for Marva. Mouse Spirit. Tend to the small things. Mouse is a very fastidious animal. And I think elephants are afraid of mice. So that just because their size isn't, they don't have a very big stature doesn't mean they don't have great power. Okay, so Julie's still here? Okay, awesome. So I'll put Julie up here. I'll do yours. Okay, cool. All right. And then Julie. Okay. Let's see. Mr. Mouse. Oop. The humble mouse pays attention to the smallest details. A mouse spirit calls on you to notice the nuances in the fine print at this time. In your eagerness to meet your goals and pursue your dreams, it's easy to forget the importance of clear communication and tending to the little things, including people's subtle signs that they are unhappy, as well as a small voice inside of you that says, this doesn't feel right. Definitely tend to those little things, okay? Take your time to sniff out what you need to know. Is there some detail or nuance about how you engage others or operate in a world that is key to your success, but you've too readily dismissed as nothing big or nothing special? It's going to come out later. Mouse Spirit reminds you that what seems small may be more important and powerful than you think. So look again. Do not underestimate yourself or your potential for co-creating something amazing when you pay attention to the details. Sometimes the details will save you a ton of headache later. If something doesn't feel right now, I always use this analogy. If you miscalculate by an inch on Earth a trip to the moon, you're going to miss the moon by a mile when you get up there, you know? So pay attention to those little details. It may save you a major headache later. And other people's subtle hints, pay attention to that. Let's see. And Chris is still here. Okay, cool. Yes. Awesome. Okay, so there you have it. That's for Marva. Mr. Mouse, I think, is often misunderstood. They're very fastidious creatures. So if you find that maybe you're feeling disorganized or unprepared, call on some mouse spirit and it will help you move through the things you need to do. But to do so, like it says, with attention to detail and the nuances of things. So that was from Marva. Beautiful little mouse. And the next one is for Karen. Ooh, Karen. The big cats. Lion Spirit. Okay, isn't that a beautiful card? Oh my goodness. Be generous of spirit. A healthy ego means you ease God's order instead of edging God out. I love that. A healthy ego means you ease God's order instead of edging God out. Let that sink in for a minute. Lion Spirit's appearance is a reminder that you have been given the gift of pride and a healthy sense of your worth to express your divine, authentic self in a unique way. I know you have a divine mission, and it requires this lofty ability or confidence in your ability to make this happen. So that's what it's saying. Ease God's order. You are both the king and the queen, secure in your prosperity and wisdom, and generous of spirit as you help others. Because you have much to give. Take pride in your ability to serve from the heart. Contentment with what you have right now allows you to use your resources wisely as you give to others in ways that educate, heal, inspire, and delight. This is perfect for you, I think. You have quite a mission about the experiences you've been through. You have much wisdom, and you're there to give of your wisdom to others to help them. Be proud yet humble. Practice gratitude, and you will find that the accolades that come to you are no match for the joy of knowing what you've been able to do for others through expressing the bounty of generosity within you. Lion Spirit knows there is a great savanna before you, and many who will benefit from the healthy expression of your unique set of gifts if you choose to work in partnership with Spirit. All your relationships flourish as you express your worth and generosity of spirit with humility and kindness. What a blessing you can be to all. Just remember that. You have much to give. Okay? Don't doubt that. Okay. Nope. You did not miss yours, Chris. Hold on. I'll add you on there. And Karen says, I've been feeling the big cats lately. Oh, yeah. I do think they're beautiful. Spot on. Yes. Awesome. That was for Karen. Okay, this next card's for Leslie. Bee spirit. What does that say? Sweet results await. And just know that the bumblebee was put on the endangered species list. So we can counteract that. Let's plant wildflowers in our yard. Don't use Roundup. If you plant a hedge instead of a fence, it gives them a place to live. The bees come, they pollinate everywhere. There's certain flowers that they're now selling in seed form that are specific to certain types of insects, like the bumblebees and the monarch butterflies. And so hopefully, and it doesn't take much. All it is like a little patch in your yard. Frankly, us not mowing our backyard this summer helped the bumblebees and the butterflies come around. So it was really kind of cool. Like the lawn was like just buzzing literally with moths and butterflies and bees. It was really beautiful. The sugar bees. So bee spirit, sweet results await. The bee spirit's message is that sweet rewards are on their way if you're willing to get your ego out of the way and immerse yourself in the connected energy of all things. Egos come up a few times. Bee spirit knows not to let a sense of being a separate self get in the way of good thing. So we've been talking about this desire of the needs of the self versus the needs of the other. Well, bees are really of a hive mentality. They can't really operate outside of the hive. It's probably not safe for them to operate outside of the hive. So coming together and having a shared need or a shared goal is maybe where you need to be at right now. Maybe the family unit, or a team unit at work, or something's going on where you need to be part of the whole and to just integrate into it, not let your personal ego get in the way. There's time for that later, but this isn't the time. When you connect with the great hive, you're vibrating and buzzing in exquisite harmony with all. Bee spirit asks that your focus be on connectivity, okay? Your body, heart, soul, and psyche experience total interconnectedness and a true integration where you self-forget. When you remember that you're part of a greater unified consciousness. It's just like being part of a good team. You don't need to worry about yourself at that point. You're part of something bigger than yourself. So moving from separation into connection, from self-centered limitation to spirit-centered, infinite possibility and potential, you become busy as a bee, enjoying the gifts of bee spirit. You may find that you are able to sustain increased activity with this higher vibration, okay? Fully in alignment with your highest expression of yourself, your heart opens and creativity rushes through you seemingly without effort as you experience that nothing feels like work. Industriousness is driven by enthusiasm and inner motivation. If you're inspired, then you tend to work from this infinitely resourced space, right? Time seems to fly by quickly as the hive supports you in the making of honey. Do you feel the presence of your helpers in the hidden realms adding their energy to your creation? Rely on, you're not just you have a whole spiritual team, a whole council there you may not be aware of that's available for you, right? Magical results are taking form and will be sweeter than you expect. Just know, these magical helpers in the back, in the spirit realm, they're maybe making stuff manifest that's beyond what you can expect. Bee Spirit wants you to remember that you are part in the divine partnership with the conscious universe, and you are being rewarded even if you can't see that yet. And it asks that you share your good fortune, as there's plenty of honey for all. Be part of the larger whole, the force that brings forth all that is sweet and delightful. Well, that's a good card. That was for Leslie. All right. Check the comments here. All right. You're welcome, Karen. Spot on, Mouse. That's what I'm here to learn. Working on it requires more discipline and patience. I also realize that I can learn this in fun ways. Thank you. Yes, and mice are so darn cute. You know, I always think of like they're in Cinderella the movie. They're just like the most charming part of the movie, I think. Um, I like the mouse archetype. Bees love butterfly bushes too. Yes, they do. Yay, Holly's back. Okay, I will add you to the cards. I'll do immediately. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm still on, Krista. It's been a long one. 2 hours. All right. You're welcome, Leslie. Okay. So this card's for Julie. Peacock Spirit, let it shine. All right. When is the last time you shook a tail feather and shined your light for all to see? Within each of us is a peacock spirit yearning for expression, and you're called now to show the world the gorgeous creature you are, for you are a manifestation of spirit. Come out from the shadows, peacock spirit says, and show your true colors so that others may be inspired to express their own exquisiteness. If you don't show who you really are, you may not attract your people. So it's time to come out in full bloom. Dance as if you remember that you're made of stardust and grace, filled with life force, energy, and sparkling light. You are a channel for divine love, and your dance is one of a kind. Catch the light and help it to shimmer and dance in celebration of your good fortune of being right here, right now. Spirit wants you to be joyful so that others get up and dance along with you. Isn't that awesome? Like, you're creating this space of joyfulness, and it's inviting other people in to be joyful with you. So you create that. You're the impetus for that. You're creating your own environment, basically. That was for Julie. For some reason, I'm getting a message too that like, it's time for you to stop viewing yourself as like a drab old dove, and to really love yourself and appreciate yourself for the ways in which you are able to shine. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's the first 4 cards. Okay, I'm going to next do a card for Chris, a card for Holly because you're still on. And then I know my mom, I'll do hers next. And then I've got Bridget, Stephanie, and Courtney as well. This card is for Chris. The snake spirit, time to heal. Time to shed old skin. I've had prophetic dreams about snakes during this eclipse time. Snake spirit's really calling to me. What is snake about? Snake is about coming into the new version of you. It's time to heal, which means that, what is heal? Heal means to make whole. You're already whole. Stop looking at yourself like you still got work to do. Get to work now. Get to work with being you, being the highest version of yourself. Get out there, do it. It's time. I think that has to do with some creative pursuits, stepping into a new identity, whatever that looks like. No, I used to find snake to be a very negative connotation, and now the more, like in real life, I really personally would not like to see a snake in my house. I don't think we're meant to be close friends, but symbolically, snake represents literally the shedding of old skin. So that's why they're the spirit of the winds of the South being in Quechua, the Q'ero Indians, South American, Peruvian, Ecuadorian area. I think the Peruvians are where the Peru is where the Q'ero Indians live. The snake in their culture, the South in their culture, is the beginning of their medicine wheel. I always open sacred space starting with the East, just because that's the way I was taught from my mentor, and she's Chiricahua Apache, and Native Americans start in the East. So anyway, that's all the aside. What I'm bringing that up for is the South to the South Americans is the place where you begin your healing journey. Okay, that beginning of your childhood. Look at your childhood. That's where you need to heal. Time to let go of the old stories from the past. Let me pull up the rest of this. All of us need healing at times, and when snake spirit appears, it is time to repair, renew, and replenish yourself and your vulnerable heart, okay? This is absolutely a great time for new beginnings. If the last 7 years were terrible for you, very hard, bruising to the ego, to the spirit, you get to renew yourself at this point. Self-care and maintenance work are needed so that your vitality can arise. Give yourself a space to nourish your own well-being. Vulnerability is necessary for friendships and partnerships to work, which means all of us will have tender emotions at times. This can be hard if you feel like, I don't want to burden somebody, I don't want to worry them with this, or I feel weird telling people stuff that's not for them to worry about. Sometimes you create a deeper connection when you share a few things about where you're going and what you've been going through. Be gentle with yourself and others. Shed the past and step into a new way of being, for vitality is rising within you. Another thing, Kundalini is seen symbolically as two winding snakes. Kundalini is also the combination of the masculine and feminine. You have two snakes, symbolic. One's gold, one's black, and they all start at the root of your base chakra, your root chakra, and then they intertwine and they do this dance and they come up to here. When you have a Kundalini rising, you have like kind of a spiritual awakening, a midlife crisis. And for me, all my migraines, I think, were part of my Kundalini being all messed up. The ability to naturally marry the masculine and feminine within. So this may be asking you to step out in ways that you're not comfortable with, it to, again, balance out feminine. This might be a good time to honor the work you've done to heal, grow, and repair any damage within you. You've done a lot of work, so maybe it's time for you to share that healing that you've been through with people who you feel safe with in community. Celebrate together how far all of you come in your healing journey and all that you've created. Unburden yourself of anything that no longer supports wellness, prosperity, positive relationships, and well-being, and open the door for healing to occur. I would venture to say that this new identity with Chiron and Aries is past being the hurt, wounded child, and now you get to form a new identity. It's like, who am I past the healing stage? I get to be well. Who am I when I'm well? Already whole. Who am I when I'm already whole? Okay. This next one, Holly, ant spirit, time to collaborate. Ants are also, like bees, very much a group community animal. They can carry more weight than their own bodies are. Their level of strength is amazing. By the way, they're the very first card in this animal deck. So when Ant Spirit comes to visit, it's to celebrate the benefits of working in a partnership with others as part of a community or tribe. Spirit reminds you that to build your dream, you need to work with others, accept help, and trust in your most important partnership, the one you have with Spirit, okay? Your intentions will come to fruition if you remain awake and focused on co-creating your reality with others and with Spirit. Remember that the world around you can easily seduce you if you don't have some sort of practice or discipline, like meditation, to keep you on track as you build the life you desire. Get really good at self-supporting activities. Are you meditating? Are you doing your yoga? Are you eating well? Even if it's Praying over your green smoothie every morning. Get some ceremony, some ritual in your life that's self-supporting to you, that helps you feel grounded. Connecting with others and having accountability partners can be very helpful. We already know. It is unlikely that everyone will fall asleep at the same time. So it's like if I'm feeling weak here, you're lifting me up here. If I'm, vice versa, if you're feeling weak, I'm lifting you up. It's ways that you work together and collaborate. The other message Aunt Spirit holds is that you're now at an auspicious time to ask for help and receive it. Okay? Whether you need help assembling a team, finding a new tribe, or requesting assistance from others who are there for you. Everything is working to support you right now. And understand that you may feel like, I'm all alone, or I don't have the support I need, etc. There are people who are waiting to help you. That's what they're living for. That's what they want to do, to help you. All right. You're welcome. You're welcome, Chris. And Holly, yes. All right. So now I'm going to pull for my mom, Rona, Bridget, Stephanie, and Courtney. So, Mom, Bridget, Stephanie, and Courtney. And I think that's going to be it for the card readings. This was a long card reading, wasn't it? All right. Dragonfly Spirit for Mom. Truth transcends illusion. Anytime I'm going through some huge transformation, Dragonfly Spirit shows up. When I'm up-leveling to a new consciousness, Dragonfly shows up. Because Dragonfly is very, it's kind of a physics marvel. It's almost like a helicopter in a way, but way more efficient. In fact, I think that they took the way a dragonfly works. It can fly backwards, it can fly forwards, it can hover, as I think Leonardo da Vinci looked at the way the dragonfly operated to create the first helicopter, the idea for the helicopter. So its adaptability is one of its biggest strengths. So Dragonfly Spirit is here to remind you of the wisdom and truth available at all times in the hidden realms. When you're needing to call upon the spirit realm, Dragonfly shows up. Like I used to, like when I was first kind of going through my awakening with wanting to start my business and really going into a space of service, Dragonfly was popping up all over, like flying over, landing on my face. Like, I mean, it's just crazy how much I find Dragonfly to be one of the biggest messengers. A lot of the winged ones, crows, raven, dragonfly, butterflies, they're good messenger animals. They come to bring you a message. And so, whereas a totem is an animal that you embrace the qualities of them in your everyday life. So there's messenger animals, there's totem animals, there's spirit helpers, there's all kinds, but messengers like hawks are messengers for me. I don't necessarily consider them a totem animal. I don't necessarily embody all of their aspects, but when they show up, like the dragonfly, it's usually to bring me, the dragonfly when it shows up as a messenger for me is to say, time to pay attention to the divine. There's something here on the divine level that you need to filter this experience through. So whatever you're going through, remember there's a metaphysical aspect to it. Dragonfly Spirit appears to tell you to pay attention to the truth beyond the illusion, which is often the metaphysical aspect of things, and recognize the insights that come seemingly out of nowhere. Things on the surface that maybe by the law of man or just other people's opinion, but you know the truth inside. That's what you're being asked to look at from a metaphysical aspect. Okay, peeking through behind the veil. In the realm of spirit, there's far more wisdom than you can perceive with your senses. And there's a deep knowing that you're not separate or alone. Okay, for a higher power recognizes you and loves you beyond measure. Fears dissipate as you realize you're embraced by the nurturing force that is everywhere, always in communication with you. And for me too, whenever dragonfly would show up, it would just be a reminder, like maybe I stepped away, maybe I'm trying to shoulder this too much myself. It's kind of like spirit going, hey, I'm here. I will call it like kind of guideposts, divine guideposts, or like if I had a thought that was particularly insightful, here goes dragonfly to say, yep, you're right. Pay attention to that. So, alighting when you are preoccupied, dragonfly spirit offers this message. You exist in unity with all, including the protective spirits who share their wisdom, and you're not being nudged along the path your soul needs to travel to have the experience it craves. Or you are being nudged along the path your soul needs to travel to have the experiences it craves. So it was basically like I was saying, like signs I'm on the right path, guideposts from spirit. Love exists in many forms, and sometimes we overlook it when we don't recognize a particular form. Pay attention to the signs now. They remind you that each of us have inspired dreams seamlessly sewn into the fabric of the invisible world. And there's a great consciousness that exists in the seemingly empty space, guiding us on our journey, open to the truth, letting the wisdom of the hidden realms inform you, providing insight your conscious mind overlooks. So it's definitely a reminder for you to be in contact with the divine. Also to filter, like I said, through the divine. And also to remind you, yeah, you're on the right path. Keep going. So that was for my mom, Rona. And next one is for Bridget. Wasp spirit. Sometimes life stings. Okay. Interesting. Let's see what this has to say. Not all that spirit creates in nature is easy to love, okay? But when we look through the eyes of wasp spirit, we recognize that even though sometimes life stings, there is a purpose for pain just as there is a purpose for wasps in the natural world. Ooh. Wasps keep insect populations down, supporting the growth of plants. So too, the stings of life may hurt, and you may feel deeply disappointed or even resentful that a wasp spirit has shown up. What in the ways are the little stings going on in your life, or even big stings that you're like resentful of, but are in the end going to help you grow spiritually? What you'll soon come to see is that spirit is something wonderful in store for you. You may well come to realize that being stung led to something far better than you had envisioned for yourself. Perhaps behind the scenes, wasp spirit was conspiring with spirit to ensure that you could grow something of value to you. I think also these little stings in life are a way to overcome comfort. Basically, you maybe would have stayed somewhere the whole time, and it wasn't for your highest good to be there unless something painful happened to shove you out of it and into a new way. Even if it was like, this isn't how I planned my life to go. But you could have stayed comfortably where you were at forever and ever and ever, but was it really going to make you grow? Was it really going to evolve your soul? And you're like, well, that's great. I'm tired. But something better's on the way. Wasp spirit was conspiring with spirit to ensure that you could grow something of value to you. Spirit has a plan, and wasp spirit plays a part. Have you ever looked back and been glad your prayers weren't answered because the path you took led to something far better? This has happened to me all the time. Wasp spirit is a reminder to reflect on those times, for today's sting may hurt, but something better awaits you. That was for Bridget. Then I have ones for Stephanie. Very cute. Time 224. Otter spirit. You are never alone. I'm going to check this comment here. Aw. Welcome, Debbie. All right. Like true friends, otters nurture each other and express their affection through touch. Actions such as holding hands and giving hugs offer reassurance that we are never really alone and that we are always cherished. Otter spirit has appeared to remind you to experience and express friendship in a tangible and even tactile way. Communicate with your voice, your facial expression, your gestures, and your actions, letting your love express itself beyond just the words you speak. Otter Spirit's message is that presence matters, so remember to be fully present with those you care about. Maybe it's time to show up and make a visit. Maybe it's time to be more demonstrative with your love. Hugs, a gift, maybe making a meal for somebody. Going beyond just the words, okay? Otter Spirit's message is that presence matters, so remember to be fully present with those you care about, helping them sense the love and affection and appreciation you have for them. Now is the time for a joyful celebration of the love in your life that expresses a friendship and companionship. Where in your life are you already feeling this? And if you're already feeling this, really nurture that and see how far that will spread to your other relationships. Okay? Hug someone, touch their arm, or simply look into their eyes with your full attention, saying, I care, you matter. Make time for friendship. Otter Spirit promises that the moment you reach out, you will remember that you too may have many who love and care about you. You are never alone, and you are always loved. So remember, when you want to kind of stay to yourself, this is saying, reach out and touch someone. Remember that old song? I think that was an old AT&T commercial back in the day. Maybe I'm dating myself. And I know I didn't sing that right. There used to be a tagline or a jingle for the communication, one of the huge companies like Southern Bell or anyway, who remembers that? Am I making that up? Anyways, Otter Spirit, you're not alone. Okay, that's for Stephanie. And then our last card. Let's see. All right. No, you didn't. I'm about to do your card right now, Courtney. And then Debbie, yes, I can pull your card. And then we'll have our last card. This one's for Debbie. Okay. Let's see. I don't think I've ever pulled this card. This is cool. Scarab beetle spirit. Magic works through you. Okay? In ancient Egypt, the scarab beetle was revered, for the creative magic of scarab beetle spirit reminds us that we can bring forth something extraordinary seemingly out of thin air. The place where thoughts become things. Okay? Whenever you let your creativity flow through you, scarab beetle spirit reminds you that spirit has given you the gift of infinite potential. Okay, I don't know why I feel called to tell you this. When you're up here in your head and you got a to-do list, it's going to feel like work to do something. But when you're in the midst of just creating and in the flow and your womb chakra is open and flowing and you're connected to womb-related healing, that's your creativity. That's your money flow. That's your relationship to other. It's going to feel like play to you to create. So you have an ally as you fashion something new or repurpose the old. For spirit co-creates with you, channeling energy through you so that you feel replenished and revitalized as you make magic with what is at hand. Now is a time for great optimism, for you can accomplish anything you desire and your creative endeavors will come to fruition. Miracles, opportunities, abundance, and love will appear seemingly out of nowhere as you allow spirit to work through you and magically manifest what you need. Just remember that. You can create something out of nothing. Divine timing. There you go. All right, and now this last one for Debbie. Lizard spirit. Dream the world into being. There's a lot of this, that calling for that feminine quality of taking from the spirit world, the place where thoughts now become things, bringing into the physical world. It's a very feminine quality. All right. 38. Let's see. Lizard spirit. When was the last time you basked in the sun? And allowed yourself to daydream, to imagine what might be and who you might become? This new beginning time frame of, the Cancer Capricorn axis in the next 2 years is basically asking you to envision a new beginning for yourself. Lizard spirit appears when you're called to let your imagination flow and dream something new. Inspiration is available to you now if you're willing to slow down and let your eyes close a little, allowing ideas to dance in your head. Notice how a lizard lays on the rock and just kind of, you see its eyes moving back and forth. What might come into being if you were to pursue your dream? How might you grow and expand if you allowed yourself to dare to believe in the impossible, the place where thoughts become things? Making it possible first in your dreaming mind, and then in the world as you co-create with spirit. Give in to the power of imagination, and soon your dream will become clearer. The steps will reveal themselves, and what was ephemeral will begin to coalesce into form. Dream it and be it. Spirit asks you to dare to dream big. So if you've ever limited yourself, if you've ever been someone who is afraid to want what you really want, this is saying stop doing that. Call on Lizard to help you get good at asking for what you really want. Okay? Wow, tonight was like a phenomenal card reading. I mean, I had 14 card requests. That's like a new record for me. So thank you all for being a part of this community. I love you all. I can't do it without you. You guys are the reason for this. So I'm so honored and blessed that you allow me to be of service. I feel much better. I was really agitated with some of this energy for the moon, but this allowing spirit to come through you is a very feminine quality. That's what the moon is asking of you, this very intuitive internal process of knowingness. And so get out there tonight. It's going to be coming up Pacific time, I think around 9:15. Central time, 11:15 is when the moon will be fully covered and turning into like a fully reddish orange hue. But it'll start, I think, around 10:40 p.m. Central time. There's all kinds of Google, NASA's got cameras. There's other, ways you can look it up if you can't get outside. But why not get outside and let it be an event? Maybe take your family out there, take yourself out there, dance a jig under the moon, do the thing that gets the energy out. Whatever you do, I just ask that you be in celebration, be in ceremony, some sort with yourself and the moon. I feel like even though we try, we're just not separate from Mother Nature. And I think for me, life has more meaning when I get out there and I celebrate the cycles of life and moon. I'm very sensitive to the moon, if you haven't noticed. So, and partial too, because, this is the full moon card reading. So that said, if you can't get out there, really, 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 really try. Enjoy the eclipse tonight. I think it's going to be monumental. And then let's just pay attention to this week and the upcoming, from now until the new moon. I think it's February 4th. What happens? What transpires? What comes to fruition during this time? What got released from the universal mind? What was birthed from the universal mind over the last, couple days through the culmination of the new moon? So thanks again for being here. I love you all, and bye for now.